lightly and hope for things to get better. We must stand together as parents, neighbors, teachers, friends, and communities to say with one voice, no more. To those who seek to harm or take our children, hear us loud and clear. We are watching, we are organizing, and we are coming for you.
I feel so humbled by where this journey with my art has taken me. More than the walls or the stages, it's about the lives it touches. Here you see Dakara's mom unboxing the shirt and hat I left for her after her daughter's homegoing celebration. She later told me how one of Dakara's friends came by wearing a hoodie with her picture on it. That moment reminded me this is bigger than paint. It's the memory, it's the love, it's the legacy. This was the pain I created for her. And as I drove past all the cars lining Crane Highway, that day I could feel the weight of how much she was loved. At the repast, as Trisha and her company set up, I was reminded again that my role was simple: to serve, connect people, and preserve stories. I'm forever blessed and grateful to affect people with just a paintbrush. Here's the time lapse of when I created this portrait live at Sobe Restaurant during Serious Company's performance. Love to you all, the Penta story.
This is Hugo Hernandez Mendez, a 35-year-old illegal immigrant sitting in a prison jumpsuit, charged with the murder of Dakara Rose Thompson, a 19-year-old girl who left her father's house one night to get gas and never made it back home. And the most disturbing part of this whole story is that the government had this man in their hands months before he ever crossed paths with Dakara, and they let him walk. To understand what happened to Dakara Thompson, you have to start with who she actually was before any of this, because the way people were talking about her online after her death had nothing to do with the girl her family raised. Dakara Rose Thompson was born on August 8, 2006 in Lanham, Prince George's County, Maryland, the youngest of 5 siblings in what her family called a big, beautiful household. She was the baby of the family, and everybody felt that, because she had the kind of energy that made people in a room feel better just from her being there. She loved pink and glitter. She loved getting her nails done. She watched scary movies, and she treasured real time with her cousins and her parents. People who knew her described her as quiet but strong, outgoing but soft-spoken, and genuinely kind in a way that did not feel forced or put on, because it was just who she was.
You will not continue your crimes unknown. The days of getting away with it are over. You will be found. You will be exposed, and you will face justice. To law enforcement, do your job as if it was your child.
Yes.
Amen. To city officials, eradicate the reporting hours of when people can report their loved ones missing. To every parent, your voice matters. Your vigilance matters. Let's look out for one another's children as if they were your own.
She finished high school at St. Charles High in Waldorf in 2024 and did not waste a moment after graduation. She signed up for the Maryland Service Year Option, a state program that places recent graduates into public service roles, and started working with nonprofit Prince George's County through that program. The people there remembered her as bright, dependable, and genuinely invested in making things better for her community. And she was already talking about one day going into entrepreneurship, the military, or technology. Maryland Governor Wes Moore later called her a bright light in our state, and that was not just a politician filling up airtime. That was an honest description of who this girl was before everything fell apart. She lived with her father, Daniel Thompson, in Lanham, and stayed close to her mother, Carmen Thompson, throughout her life. Now, on the other side of this story is Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez, 35 years old, originally from Guatemala, living in a rented room in a shared house on Cambridge Drive in Bowie, Maryland. He was in the United States illegally, meaning he had entered the country without going through any official immigration process and had been here for years with no legal status. He drove a black GMC Yukon Denali XL, and by the accounts of people who lived around him, his behavior had been changing in the period leading up to this case, with a roommate later telling detectives he had a drinking and drug problem.
The family of Dakara, including her mother, many of Dakara's loved ones were wearing Justice for Dakara shirts. Now, the disappearance and murder of Dakara has attracted a lot of attention, and I think it's important to talk a little bit about how we got here. First, Dakara left her father's home in Lanham to go and get gas on August 22nd. Her father reported her missing the next day. On August 24th, Dakara's family tracked her car near the intersection of Jasmine Terrace and Riggs Road. Her purse was inside, but her cell phone was gone. On August 31st, Maryland State Police responded to Maryland Route 50 between Maryland Route 424 and Maryland Route 97 in Anne Arundel County for a report of a disabled vehicle.
The reason that detail matters is that law enforcement had already seen that side of him 4 months before Dakara disappeared. On April 25, 2025, U.S. Park Police stopped Hernandez Mendez on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway and arrested him on multiple charges: driving while under the influence of alcohol, having a blood alcohol level above the legal limit, open container in the vehicle, unsafe lane changes, reckless driving, negligent driving, failure to follow traffic directions, and driving without due care. He was in the same black Yukon that would later be connected to Dakara's case, and he handed officers a DC driver's license that records showed was already suspended and expired. After all of that, he was released pending trial with no immigration detainer placed on him, even though he was in the country without legal status. That failure to act is what kept this man on the streets in August 2025 when Dakara crossed his path. On the night of August 22nd, Dakara left her father's house in Lanham around 10 in the evening, telling him she was going to get gas for her car and would be back. She texted him just before midnight to confirm she was still out, and then the messages stopped. No more texts, no calls back, no response, which her family said was completely out of character for her. When she still had not come home the next morning, her family reported her missing on August 23rd, and the day after that, August 24th, her 2013 white Ford Edge SUV turned up parked on the side of the road near Jasmine Terrace and Riggs Road in the Hyattsville area, sitting in front of a fire hydrant and pointing the wrong direction like someone had left it in a rush. Her purse was still inside, with her cash, her ID, and her credit cards, and the only thing missing was her phone, which had already been switched off.
Hard behind the scenes. They've made this case a priority, which I appreciate so much. With our efforts and their efforts put together, we are working so hard to try to get her back. I have never had any knowledge of her coming to this side of town at all. We don't have any family, any friends that I knew of that she had in this area. I have no idea what brought her to this area on that particular.
Surveillance cameras near where Dakara's car was found captured exactly what happened in the hours between her last text to her father and when the car was abandoned, and those recordings became the foundation of the entire murder investigation. At 3:06 in the morning on August 23rd, footage showed Dakara stepping out of her Ford Edge on Jasmine Terrace wearing a light-colored jacket, black pants, and light-colored shoes. She walked from Jasmine Terrace down Riggs Road toward University Boulevard, went into the parking lot behind a Family Dollar store, and approached the driver's side window of a black GMC Yukon Denali XL parked there. She spoke to the driver for about a minute, then walked around to the passenger side and got in on her own.
That truck belonged to Hugo Hernandez Mendez, and right across the street from that Family Dollar was the Galaxy nightclub, where Hernandez Mendez would later claim to police that he had been spending his evening. About 45 minutes after she got in that truck, at roughly 3:45 in the morning, the black Yukon arrived at the Cambridge Drive house in Bowie, where Hernandez Mendez rented his room. Cell phone data placed DeCara's phone at that location from the moment they arrived until it went completely dark just after 5 in the morning. Investigators believe she was killed inside his bedroom during that exact window. A witness in the house told detectives they heard what sounded like intercourse coming from Hernandez Mendez's room around 5 in the morning, but it sounded like someone was not enjoying it, a grunting noise that made them feel something was wrong. When that same witness woke up a few hours later and stepped outside, the black GMC was gone from its usual spot in front of the house, and that was unusual because Hernandez Mendez did not normally work on Saturdays.
Troopers found a dead body on the river embankment. We now know that that body is of DeCara Thompson. Court documents reveal that she was found naked by troopers and her body was in a, quote, state of decomposition.
8 days passed with DeCara's family out there every single day searching. Carmen Thompson sat by her daughter's abandoned car on Jasmine Terrace for 48 hours straight, waiting to see if anyone came back for it. She and Daniel, along with friends and community members, put up flyers everywhere, knocked on doors, and searched through woods and stream beds near the old Adelphi Mill on Riggs Road, doing all of that while not knowing yet just how bad things already were. Carmen told reporters she was exhausting any resource, anything I can think of, and Daniel said he was scared but still hopeful. The news they got on August 31st ended that hope for good. Maryland State Police got a call about a disabled vehicle on the bridge over the South River off eastbound Route 50 near Annapolis. When troopers looked over the railing of that bridge, they found a woman's body on the slope of the riverbank about 30 feet below, completely unclothed, but with visible tattoos and jewelry still on her. Photos went to Prince George's County detectives who were already working DeCara's missing person case. The tattoos matched, and family members confirmed it was her. Investigators believe Hernandez Mendez drove her body from Bowie to that bridge and threw it over the side to try to get rid of the evidence. The autopsy confirmed she had visible fractures to her skull and her face, and her death was ruled a homicide. On September 4, 2025, detectives were ready to move. They had been watching the Cambridge Drive house and had enough to get a search warrant, and when Hernandez Mendez walked out that morning and got into the black Yukon, officers pulled him over right there on Cambridge Drive and took him into custody. The search warrant was executed at the house shortly after 9 in the morning, and what detectives found inside that bedroom told the whole story. There were multiple areas of blood in the room, including on the mattress. On the floor was a fake French manicure-style fingernail, white and pink, that matched DeCara's nails exactly and corresponded to a nail that was missing from her hand when her body was found. In the trash bins outside, detectives found a blood-stained napkin, hair consistent with a wig DeCara had been wearing, and women's underwear and lingerie. Blood was also found on the passenger seat of the black Yukon. A neighbor named Cody Parsons separately told reporters he had seen something burning in Hernandez Mendez's backyard in the early hours of August 23rd.
Court documents revealed some other key points, such as police say video surveillance shows DeCara getting inside of a black GMC Yukon Denali on August 23rd, driven by Hernandez Mendez. Court documents say that the truck then went to a home on the 12,000 block of Cambridge Drive in Bowie. We now know that is where Hugo Hernandez Mendez lives.
When detectives questioned Hernandez Mendez after his arrest, he told them he had been at the Galaxy nightclub in Hyattsville that night. the same club sitting directly across the street from the Family Dollar, where surveillance cameras had already captured DeCara getting into his truck. He said he went there to meet an ex-girlfriend who never showed up. He denied having anything to do with DeCara's disappearance or death, and then he asked for a lawyer and stopped talking. The next day, September 5th, Hernandez-Mendez was formally charged with first-degree and second-degree murder, and ICE lodged the immigration detainer on the same day, the detainer they should have put in place after the DUI arrest 4 months earlier. He appeared before a judge remotely from jail. His own legal team waived the bond hearing and did not even attempt to argue for his release, and the judge made clear she would not have let him out anyway because there was no set of conditions that could keep the community safe from him. He has been locked up without bond ever since. On October 8, 2025, Prince George's County State's Attorney Tara Jackson announced he had been indicted by a grand jury on charges of common-law murder, tampering with physical evidence, and disposing of a body in an unauthorized place. His defense team later tried to get the trial moved out of Prince George's County, arguing that too much publicity and too many public statements from local politicians had made it impossible for Hernandez-Mendez to get a fair hearing there. One of the politicians they pointed to was U.S. Representative Glenn Ivey, who said publicly that the failure to detain Hernandez-Mendez after the April DUI had allowed him to remain free and left a family grieving a terrible loss. The judge denied that motion in March 2026, ruling that the crime happened in Prince George's County and the people of that county have the right to be part of the judgment. The trial is scheduled for September 2026.
During a press conference last Friday, Prince George's police say they believe that DeCara was murdered allegedly by Hernandez-Mendez inside a bedroom in that home. Now, following today's bond hearing, State's Attorney Tara Jackson spoke to reporters. Take a listen to what she had to say.
Our office, again, has to thoroughly review not only the charges that were lodged against the defendant, but the evidence that the police have collected in this case and continue to investigate where necessary, along with all of our law enforcement partners. And we'll make a determination in short order as to the appropriateness of any charges and what those charges will be. And then we would present to the grand jury for indictment.
She had just completed a year-long internship in which she was very successful. She did a great job. She was a kind of an outgoing, soft-spoken, kind young lady.
Carmen Thompson made her position on all of it clear. She did not want this man getting any kind of accommodation, and she was not afraid to say it out loud after the judge ruled in the prosecution's favor. At the same time, she had been fighting a completely separate battle on social media, where people had been running their mouths about DeCara's character since the beginning of the case, questioning why she was out that late and why she got into a stranger's car. Carmen stood outside that courthouse in a t-shirt with her daughter's face on it and told people directly she was a good girl, she was a good kid. She was kind of an outgoing, soft-spoken, kind young lady. She was a free spirit. She asked people to stop believing everything they were reading online and to approach the family and the situation with grace. And when it came to why Hernandez-Mendez was still free to be out there in August 2025, she said exactly what everyone already knew. We may not be here today if they did what they were supposed to do. ICE officials publicly stated that county policies had historically stopped them from placing detainers on people like Hernandez-Mendez, and that this had put residents at risk. County Executive Aisha Braveboy responded by pointing the finger at the federal government, saying the U.S. government had him in their custody in April and made the decision to release him, so those questions belonged with the Justice Department. The DOJ and the Maryland U.S. Attorney's Office both declined to comment. That accountability question has not been answered as of today.
Let's reach out to our community leaders and flood their phones, demanding justice. Let's create safer neighborhoods, demand stronger protections, and teach our kids how to stay safe and speak up. Enough is enough. No more stolen children. Say it behind me. No more stolen children. No more silence.
No more silence.
We have to protect our own. Say, if you see something, say something. Stop being silent. To Dakara, we love you, and we will never stop fighting for you and kicking down doors.
Out of all of this came something that most families in Carmen's position never get to see. On February 10, 2026, Councilmember Wanika Fisher introduced Dakara Rose Law, CB 002-2026, before the Prince George's County Council. The law put it in writing that there is no waiting period before you can file a missing person report, which had technically already been the police department's policy, but most people in the community had no idea that was the case. When the family and advocates went out into the community, people consistently thought they had to wait before reporting someone missing. And that mistake costs lives, because those first 24 hours are the most important window in any missing person case. The law also required the county health department to launch a public awareness campaign focused specifically on Black women and girls, because Black women and girls made up nearly 37% of all missing female entries in the FBI's most recent national data, while consistently receiving less urgency and less media coverage than other missing person cases. The bill passed unanimously, 11 votes to 0, with a signing ceremony set for approximately April 8, 2026. Dakara Rose Thompson was 19 years old, freshly out of high school, volunteering in her community and making plans for what came next. She went out one night to get gas and crossed paths with a man who should have been off the streets months earlier. The trial is set for September 2026, and Hugo Hernandez Mendez is sitting in a cell waiting for it. Whatever that verdict brings, Carmen Thompson has been consistent from day one. She does not want anything extra. She just wants justice for her daughter in the county where it happened, nothing more and nothing less. If the system had done its job the first time it had Hugo Hernandez Mendez in its hands, would Dakara Rose Thompson still be alive today? Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like it. See you in the next one.